Sports Saloon here at Kingston's Power Line District. Gridiron Gameday Uncensored. Fluctuates from Monitor. Very special guest down here, Steve Redmond. The
What's going on?
We are talking Missouri, South Carolina, all things SEC football related, all things football. Steve, how's it going? Welcome to the show, man. How's everything going in your world, man?
Oh, it's going good, man. Saturday, football Saturday. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Great to have you on. Just reliving some of your days here, Steve. Of course, you played, that 04 to 08 era, very good era.
Yep.
Experienced a lot of wins, but never quite the big loss like Missouri suffered last week against Indiana.
Right.
For one, you know Coach Gary Pinkel. You know a lot of this coaching staff. How does Missouri get back on track? What is this coaching staff going to tell this team, and how are they going to get it back on track?
I mean, anytime we go through any loss, whether it's, a tough loss, there's a tough loss, we go back to the drawing board. We review the game. What did we do good? What did we do bad? And we learn from it. Unfortunately, those guys had to have practice on Sunday, I believe, unless they changed that. So they didn't get a victory Sunday. But you just go back and refine it. Now you got another opportunity. That's the good news, is to come out, fix the kinks, and move forward.
Yeah, big game, of course. College game day goes to Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah.
I don't think they probably were counting on Missouri losing the end of the game. You made this matchup, Noah. What do you make of South Carolina? The whole SEC East looks like congrats to me, especially after Tennessee and Georgia today. I can't really make the heads or tails of it right now. What do you think win here at the end of Columbia?
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them coming off that loss against Indiana. Maybe they were looking ahead. Maybe they're really ready for this game. I think they are. Mike Davis is next up, the running back from South Carolina. And then another good one in Brayton Wild. So if Mike Davis can't go, Brayton Wild's get it going. But I look for Mizzou to really rely on the running game. Get Jimmy Love, Satchel involved early, get him downfield, and Matty Moss likes to keep faster. So they can take advantage of that secondary South Carolina and get it going.
Just a crushing loss for Missouri against Indiana. Indiana team that lost today, Steve.
Yeah.
34-9 to Maryland. Just saw that score on my way in. I am sick in my ass.
Right.
Again, Steve talked about it, trying to rebound from this loss. Missouri 0-0 in the SEC.
Yeah.
There's still a lot out there.
Absolutely.
Going in South Carolina, one of the veteran offensive lines. Missouri's offensive line looks really leaky right now. Gotti goes down with injury last week.
Yep.
The interior line not looking good. Matty Mock was running for his life. They're going to have to get that fixed. Josh Henson and Coach Ricker is going to have to get that fixed going into this game.
Yeah. That's one thing that, I talked about with some of my teammates that are still around, Martin Rucker, Tommy Saunders. I don't like it at all. Not that I don't have faith in the guys and the coaches being able to get them on track. It's just within a week's time, we got guys flip-flopping in places that they're not used to playing, whether they're experienced or not. And then you're taking that to Columbia, South Carolina. That's an uneasy situation, because no matter what happened and thus far in the season with South Carolina, Steve Spurrier is going to have those boys ready to play, especially after those comments in the press conference. I'm sure these boys are going to come out fired up and ready to prove something.
Spurrier, man, he's a different guy, different coach.
Yeah.
He was pretty candid. Pretty much said that his team sucks.
Right.
I don't know why the voters are still voting for him.
Right.
Using that to motivate him too long, but he's a different guy. Coach Pinkel does have the one win over Spurrier in the Independence Bowl. A win that they have turned around this whole program here in Missouri.
Yeah.
Going in here and see. Before we get into more of this game, I want to go back because you were there. We're here in Kansas City. We're in McFadden's at Power Line District.
Yep.
Not too far from Arrowhead Stadium, where one of the greatest moments did take place. You guys went over Kansas in 07.
Yeah.
I can't find enough time in a day to get So you're here. You played on that team. You played in that game.
Right.
A lot of special teams. A lot of rotating linebacker. Of course, you always talk about Sean Witherspoon and his football-loving ass.
Yeah.
Just go back to that game and give us some of your experiences and memories.
I mean, when we're talking about a game of that magnitude, in my opinion, I know it's the second oldest rivalry, or used to be the second oldest rivalry in college football history, but by far the best. I think anybody would attest to that. For those two teams to be that good at that moment, for that game to mean so much, was unbelievable. You had 100,000 people there, not, including the parking lot and in the stadium. It was an electric environment, and for us to play the way we played that game was amazing. To be able to, solidify our position in the Big 12 North was an opportunity of a lifetime for us, and it helped us put Mizzou on the map in terms of where they're at now.
Did you guys feel slighted as Kansas wound up in that Orange Bowl? I know it's a point of contention to this day. How did you guys feel after that? You went down and took care of business against Arkansas. The part of you had to feel like, okay, we just beat this team 2 weeks ago.
Slighted is a nice way to put it. When we found out, we were waiting in the Alumni Center, I believe, watching the bowl show. And when we didn't get picked, of course, the coaches and everybody are trying to, this is still a good, and the Cotton Bowl is a great game. But like you said, we beat Kansas. We had an amazing season. And for us to not go to a BCS game, that was the main reason you saw the performance you saw in the Cotton Bowl. Because for that month or whatever we had off, we were at each other's necks. We were upset. And, we had time to cool down, really focus up, and take that all out on Arkansas.
I'm glad you did that. That was another great one. Of course, our friend Tony Temple, Cotton Bowl record. Forever.
Right. Hopefully.
It's funny you think about that Cotton Bowl. Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, and Peyton Hillis. Got to Arkansas, but it was Tony Temple. 22.
Start the show. All right.
I love it. Now, Steve, I want to get into more of this game, more of Missouri, South Carolina. I want to get into core athletic.
Okay.
There's a lot of people may not realize here in Kansas City, a lot of former Tigers like yourself, Tommy Saunders, Martin Rucker. You guys have got this gym together. You're doing this thing, give us all the info. Where can we find you?
Okay.
And give us all the info.
Okay. Core athletic. It's almost in a sense like a human performance center. Really, we got so much going on under one roof. Between our functional fitness programs, our general fitness programs, my athletic performance, we're over in Riverside, Missouri, behind the Red X 305 Northwest Business Park Lane. And like you said, we got former Tigers in there. On my side of it, Marcus Lucas came to see me after he took his trips to the teams. Justin Britt. I saw him a little bit after the combine, and we're really trying to develop athletes.
And into those contracts.
Right. I'm still negotiating that with those guys, but ultimately what we want to do is create a staple in the community where whether you're an elite athlete or you're just an everyday person looking for a place to come get healthy or get better, you can come there and know you're welcome. There's no judgment. There's no nothing. There's just people that are getting better. So
because Noah and I were thinking about coming in. Right. What did you do with guys like us? About 2 minutes.
Hey, I'm gonna get everything I can get out of you in that 2 minutes. We call it a championship 2-minute drive is what we'll call it. We'll get it done for you, man.
Well, definitely, guys. I urge you guys to go check them out. Absolutely, it changed lives down there. You've seen some of the success stories just on Facebook, on social media. You guys do such a great job, and can't thank you enough for that. Great to see former Tigers banding together, doing as much as you guys are doing.
Keeping it in the family.
Yeah, I want to get back to this game and back to this. Georgia has lost to South Carolina. South Carolina gets blown out in their first game. That looks great, though.
Right.
I think as of right now, you're going to give South Carolina the edge. They beat Georgia. I know they had a big loss against Texas A&M, but it seems like everyone is these days. So, taking a great quarterback for the Yankees. But I guess South Carolina, we'll see tonight if the Super Bowl episode. It's a wild card.
I hope so.
We'll see what happens.
Well, you saw what happened last year. Missouri got on a roll, and I think that, Steve, I've used this analogy a lot of times. The 2013 Tigers remind me a lot of the 07 Tigers, a team that just built confidence, kept winning, and had a loss. You guys had a loss against Oklahoma.
Right.
Missouri losing South Carolina.
Yep.
That seemed to reignite the team and get a chip on your shoulder. Both teams finished strong with one loss, won the division.
Yeah.
Did you kind of compare your guys' team to the 013 team?
Yeah, 100%. And the reason why is, that 13 team was, and I'm not bragging, I'm being honest, they were trying to be better than us because they knew if they could be better than us, that would mean national championship. We were one half away from it. And they got to that same mark, and we fell short. But I think what we're looking at now is that same situation. When we're looking at this team, you think about that at 17, we weren't ranked when we came into the season. We were under the radar, and we kind of built our way up, had that loss that tragic loss against OU and Norman, and then we went on.
Crat assistant, by the way. Sorry to interrupt you. There was a crat assistant.
I don't even.
Play, caused a fumble, miscommunication between Chase and Jeremy McFadden.
For the sake of his protection, I will not list his name.
It wasn't me or no one.
It wasn't you two. I can't bring his name up, but I think that looks at a different picture because you look at this Indiana game. We had some coaching errors, waiting too long to call a timeout. Yeah. That 07 game, sending one signal in to one person, another to another, and how critical it is for teams top to bottom, coaches, players included, to be on the same page, especially, now we're playing in the SEC. We can't afford to beat ourselves, and I feel like that's what we did when we played Indiana, and I'm hoping that we can bounce back from that and win today at South Carolina.
What do you like in this game? And Noah, we'll start with you as far as prediction goes. Missouri, the Vegas Sharks started off instilling South Carolina's 7-5 favorites on it before the half. That's coming out Mizzou. Marcus Golden's going to play this game to change Missouri's defense around. Who do you like and what kind of score do you have here at the other Columbia?
It's going to be a close game. We got 27-24 Mizzou. With Marcus Golden coming back, I mean, if you just have Shane Ray, one pass rusher, and most like protection to him, you can have the chip just on him. With Marcus Golden on the other side, it creates a whole new dynamic on the defensive line with more pass rush, Phelan, and I think it's going to cause damage for Dylan Thompson, Mike Davis. I think it's going to just create so much havoc for the South Carolina Gamecocks. I like these to come out of this one tight game, but they're going to do it.
I think this is going to be a close game. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see Andrew Baggett come back through and win this game again when he's field goal. I've got South Carolina winning the game by field goal. Same kind of score. I think it's going to be. I think they can expose some problems in this Missouri team. They're able to run the ball again, hit the edges. They're able to beat Missouri on the screen pass, which happened a lot in South.
Jeez.
Against South Carolina.
Yeah.
As long as Hunter Shaw is playing this game,
right.
He is going to play there.
I feel good about it. Right?
Missouri is going to be right there. Clear in the chrome helmets. Coming up strong. I like South Carolina here. The old ball coach seems to play these big games out.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. Missouri's going to have to play its A game. Get this, guys. Here's Missouri's key. South Carolina, 116th in the nation in pass defense. That looks like Matty Mock all day. The offensive line gets better. How do you like Matty Mock's chances? And can this young receiving corps step up? I say young, unproven. More
right.
Unproven.
Yeah. I love it. And that was going to be my whole focus today is we're looking at a weak secondary. And if we can execute our offense rather, get our reads, get the balls of those playmakers, Jimmy Hunt, Bud Stasser, Sean, get Sean involved a little bit. You want to put them in position to make plays. I would like to see Matty refrain from some of the more reckless side of him running around and maybe forcing some stuff. Just get it to them and let them do the rest of it.
Partly is that offensive line that we saw last week. The interior of the offensive line was just caved in. I mean, Matty Mock, as soon as the ball was in his hands, and we saw some bad snaps from Evan Bain. That's not like him. He's an all-SEC offensive lineman, all-SEC center. Had some bad snaps, throws the timing off. The offense, as good as anybody.
Right.
The snaps that throw the timing off. That's what happened a lot last week. That's going to have to get fixed. But, you like Matty Mock. Calling Matty Mayday. Can make good plays against the South Carolina defense. That's going to be the key. And can this Missouri running game be going? Russell Hanslow, Marcus Murphy, those guys are going to have to step up and play some SEC football today, guys.
Yeah.
No Jadavian Clowney. South Carolina's defensive line is not getting the push they were last year. They're also going to have to run it.
Yeah, with the banged up offensive line, you're going to have to find some stuff on the edges, get outside with Hanslow and Murphy. I think we can do it. Like you said, there's no Jadavian Clowney, so I think they can get the edge and definitely create something in the running game to help out Matty Mock. South Carolina's going to expect the passing game with that 116th ranked pass defense.
Yeah.
I think Murphy and Hanslow will get something done today.
Steve, I want to ask you as a former player, fans like to make a lot of what happens week to week. Okay, Missouri lost last week to Indiana. No chance to beat South Carolina. I always say this, and you're a former player, you tell me.
Yeah.
They always say football games every game is like a different final exam.
Yeah.
You can't take one thing from the next. How true is that? Each game represents a completely different scenario, and that you cannot draw conclusions from last week to this week.
Right. It's pretty relative. And the reason I say pretty relative, not all the way, is because you do take stuff from a loss like that. Like you said, we were exposed, right? They exposed us. They got players just like we got players. And I think the biggest thing is we learn from that is it's basic. When you play the game, if you don't play your A game every week, you will get beat. You have a higher potential to get beat. You know, Indiana, people are acting like they don't have scholarship athletes.
Right.
You know, the way the game is now, there's not enough space on these big teams for all the great players to go there. So they end up at the Indianas. And, you know, that guy we're talking about him running the ball. He's the leading rusher in NCAA, averaging 218 a game. Like, that should be scary enough. So you couple that with us not tackling, allowing those big plays to happen. Of course you're going to lose the game, you know, and that's the one thing that I look at is you want to learn from it, move forward, so when you take that next test, you can ace it. You can be successful.
One thing Missouri fans always bring up is adjustments. Does Coach Steckel make adjustments at halftime? You're a former player. You can tell us about that. And the one complaint you hear a lot of Missouri fans talk about is, well, the corners are just playing too far off the receivers. They're allowing too big of a cushion. There's a reason for that, and I'd like to hear kind of technically from your schematically from your experience, kind of what Steckel, what Matt Eberflus was trying to do, you know, with those defenses, and kind of how schematically that they were set up to do.
Okay, and the one thing that we always do with the Mizzou defense, we're a bend don't break defense. You know, the way we play, so aggressive, the blitzes, the movement, you know, like they moving the linebackers, are they blitzing, are they dropping? It's a tough defense. It's an aggressive defense. So there are times where we play tighter. There's other times where we have to loosen up, and it's really, as much as, you know, it might look on TV, it's up to the corner's discretion. You know, like, hey, some of them like to play a little tighter cushion. Some of them don't. You know, so the scheme is not necessarily based on, hey, you're going to play at 2 yards every time. It's more, okay, here's the situation. We know it's 3rd and 6. I can't afford you to be lined up at 7, right? That's just the players learning the game. It's a lot of responsibility placed on the actual players to be able to know the defense, make the right decisions, and execute. And so sometimes what we're looking at is, you know, one of our corners is too close. You know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, personnel has a lot to do with that. Personnel changes throughout a game, let alone a season and several seasons. So coaches have so much to look at, so much going on.
Right.
So much. We got a question from our Facebook page. Noah, we'll start with you. As we're here at McFadden Sports Saloon, they got the games going on right now. This kind of maybe a question in jest, a little bit of sarcasm here, but who's on the bigger hot seat, Charlie Strong or Charlie Weiss going in? Who's on the hot seat right now?
Well, since Texas is winning this game, you say Charlie Weiss, but before that, you might say Charlie Strong. People are questioning whether he has what it takes to win at Texas. And what's he doing to get rid of all these players? And 9 players don't leave this up to. So you'd like to say Charlie Strong because there's such a high expectation of Texas, and Kansas, they're used to losing. They're still keep Charlie Weiss for the big game, and all that money they're paying him, and still paying the tournament.
Yeah.
So you're going to say Charlie Strong. Have to get rid of Charlie Weiss, losing every single game that they play.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you go into a situation, you get your Twitter taken away, you got to sit in the front row of every class. Charlie Strong is a no-nonsense guy. Do you like that? Or do you think that's going to rub college kids the wrong way and you can't recover from it?
I respect it, man. Whether you like it or not, as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, I respect that because he's taking the way things are nowadays, he's making it about what it should be about. And that's the one reason I respected Coach Pinkel is, you know, he expected you to be a mature young man.
Yeah.
And, you know, held you to certain standards. Like, hey, I'm not saying you make one mistake and it's all over. But if you continue to make mistakes, if you continue to not do the right things, if you continue to think you're bigger or better than everybody else, there's going to be some consequences for that. And so I know it's tough because Texas has a tradition of winning and they want to win now. But I like the direction Charlie Strong is trying to take it and say, hey, we're gonna bring in quality young men who know how to play the game, not just athletes who think they can do whatever they want to do.
So you don't necessarily like the direction that Charlie Weiss is taking.
Charlie can keep taking it that direction for all I care. I'm still upset about this whole, re-signing with for all I care.
Well, Steve, you're a Kansas City guy. This story has ended. Do you want to see him come back? Do you think Missouri can't? To me, Missouri and Kansas should be playing at Arrowhead Stadium every year in football and at Sprint Center every year in basketball.
Every year.
There's no excuse for it.
Every year. And I get it, for them. And it's not even a money deal. They'll make their money just because of the rivalry, just because people still, feel a certain kind of way about each other. And I think the way it ended was just petty. We made feelings hurt. We left out. We're compromising their success. We made a business decision. We made a business decision that would put our university on a level for us to be successful and reach our future goals. And that's all it was. They unfortunately didn't have that opportunity. And so, from there, I would love to see it come back, but I think it's just good for especially the Kansas City area. With everybody being so close, we see these KU shirts walking around. I'm trying not to dive over this table and hurt somebody, but, right. But, if it would ever come across, I would hope that, both parties could get together and make that happen.
Yeah, it's great for Kansas City. People that live outside of the area, I know a lot of Missouri fans from Columbia and more eastern side St. Louis may not quite get it as much. And there's probably a lot of players on your team that didn't understand the rivalry until they got here.
Yeah, me included. I didn't know.
And you had to, you find out real quick, though. I can imagine in 07 game day, the bus point, I've heard stories. You guys at bus point in Arrowhead and smoke coming out of the parking lot, the fans shaking the bus.
Mm-hmm. And that was
feel like $1 million.
And I'll tell you what, that was light years nicer than what would happen when we had to go to Lawrence. When I tell you there was a fear of something happening, we would stay in Kansas City and drive to Lawrence on game day.
Yeah.
We would get to Lawrence, fans would throw rocks at the bus. Yeah. They'd have their kids flipping us off. We would have to walk through the crowd to get to the locker room. They would push us, the whole deal. It was crazy. They would throw candy at us on the sidelines. And in hindsight, it's like, man, that's a hell of a situation to play in. But that's the kind of rivalry it was. It was like a general dislike, going back to Civil War times, the whole deal. And that's why I was hurt when they decided, no, we're not going to continue this. It goes beyond the sports side of things. It's just a general rivalry, state to state. We think we're better than you, and let's prove it. And it was a fun way for us to be able to settle the differences.
Well, guys, we're here at McFadden Sports here. Always on Gridiron Gameday Uncensored. Be sure to go to the website, GreatAmericanSportsNetwork.com. All these articles, interviews, videos, it's really all there, Steve. Not a moment's rest. And I don't know if you were here last night, Steve, at Power Light. Limp Bizkit performed. And
I was not.
We're all about the same age.
Right.
All around, you're around the age of 30. And I can't imagine what kind of scene it was. I'm not a fan. I can't imagine what kind of a scene it was here.
I would be interested to see it because I know the last time I was here and Bell Biv DeVoe came to town, Johnny Gill and all them boys, I was like, I got to get out of here. This is crazy. So I can only imagine what it was like with Fred Durst and those boys rolling through.
I tried to stereotype people, but back in our day, like in high school, and the Limp Bizkit fans that kind of had the baggy jeans, they had some of them kind of had the cornrows going, and it just was a different type of person.
Right.
Limp Bizkit and corn, it was a different.
Right.
I'm not above it. Trust me, I listen to weird music too.
Right.
But I can just imagine the scene here would have been crazy. We're missing it by about 24 hours, and that's okay with me. But part of me that could have just been here to keep it on.
I know.
Just you got in the pit.
I might have done it. I might have jumped in. I don't know if they would have caught me though. I'm a little heavier than the average person, so they might have. Right.
Guys, we're only about an hour and a half from kickoff. College game day is another big situation. Missouri's actually 2-3 on college game day. College game day. One of which was the Missouri-Kansas game at Arrowhead. One was the Big 12 title against Oklahoma.
No.
Missouri got one against Oklahoma back in 2010.
Yeah.
So, you've been a part of the game days. Players, you guys are kind of holed up in a hotel. Do you guys get to watch it at all? Are you aware of what's going on? It happens so much earlier than the day in the game. It's not really a part of your daily routine.
And we're aware of it. When you're in that hotel, you're just sitting there hanging out. All you have to do all day outside of the times you have your meetings and meals is watch TV.
Yeah.
And a lot of us would be in the room together watching College Game Day. What did they say? This and that. Maybe mom is texting you, I'm down at the, at the column, just crazy. And you wish you could be a part of it. But you know, at some point we all just put the phones down and just refocus on us, making sure that experience is seen all the way through and we don't lose the game. We go ahead and win it so we can have a good time.
They always make their way down into the crowd.
Right.
I think you were the guy with the sign in Columbia today, the sign that said, "Who's your daddy?" Was that you? I saw it. You wouldn't do that.
No, I would never do that. I would not do that.
Well, they always talk about playing on the road. South Carolina has only lost one road game at home since 2001 game in Williams-Brice Stadium since 2011. We always talk about it. You got to go on the road. As a former player again, no one I can attest to this. We just shut up and let you answer. What is the difference?
Football days on the road, it was tough.
Is it your crowd that makes the difference? Is it the unfamiliarity with the surroundings? What makes the difference in road games in Division I athletics? Because it is a big difference.
It's a huge difference. And ultimately, what makes the difference is from the time you leave your hometown and get there. In all honesty, you're talking about, you know, you have a road routine, you have a home routine. Home routine, you get out of class, you go through your walkthroughs, you go stay at the hotel, you eat your dinner, and then you go to bed. You got to worry about, you know, I'll take you way back, even further. 2004, we're going to Nebraska.
All 30 times in the swirling wind.
Right. The plane ran off the runway.
I remember that.
So we didn't leave until we played at 11. We left at 5.
Wow.
We had to do a walkthrough in the airport hangar. So you're talking about just more distractions. Maybe the food's not good. Maybe like it could be a number of things, and that's what makes it tough outside of now. Okay, that's before the game. Now you get there, who knows? Like I said, they might be throwing candy at you. They might have a picture of your mom up. I don't know what's going. You just never know what's going to happen, and it's just more distractions that a team has to fight through to focus on what they're there to do, and that's to execute the game plan and win the game.
I want to heard some teams focus more and come together as a team on the road, kind of galvanize.
Less pressure, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's you know I think about my team. 05, I believe it was. We went to Oklahoma State. And I don't know if you guys ever been there, but the stands
right on you,
is like this and right next to you, so they can touch you if they want to. And you really got to get in a situation where I got to keep you focused. You got to keep me focused. We won that game, yes, we did. And then all you do at some point when you get close enough to say, all right, guys, this is a business trip. We're here to win. Let's stick together, get in and get out. You know, Nebraska, you're talking about sticking together. We went there in 08, beat the brakes off of them at homecoming. And you're talking about a whole lot of upset people, and you got to walk together to get out of there because you don't ever know. You know,
this is likely to turn on their own players.
Right.
I mean, nicest, classiest fan base in college football until they lose.
Yes, that's exactly what you. Like, this ain't what it used to be.
You know, Missouri comes from today. Maybe a night game helps out. You get more used to the surroundings. You know, I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but Williams-Brice Stadium was the stadium featured in the movie The Program. That's where the Eastern State.
Oh, wow.
Steve Latimer.
I did not know that.
Stadiums. Maybe there's some magic to that. But they don't lose here. It's very good at home. Spurrier knows how to get this team going. Like David, for the spring backs in college football beat up. Boy, I'm just, I keep going around in my head. I'm going to have to change my prediction midway through the show. Steve, and you know, I think this is going to be a hard-fought game. Missouri coming out. They've already released the uniforms, the all-white with the chrome. I think that's our cleanest look.
I wish I had those when I played.
Yeah, that's a good question, too. We had the new uniform starting at 12.
Yeah.
You guys carried through. I think I actually bought one of your former game-worn jerseys in the game one time. I'll give you that off air.
Okay.
How big are uniforms, though, in this day and age? Did it attract you at all to Missouri, or did you care? Sean Witherspoon committed to Mizzou because he saw a Mizzou sweatshirt in a store in Texas.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. It did not attract me at all because if you can go way back, we had the old Mizzou jerseys when I signed there. So it was like I can't even describe like the black and the big jerseys. It didn't look.
They didn't have the cutoff.
Yeah, we didn't have the fancy stuff yet. So, but now you look at teams like Oregon. Why do you think Oregon does what they do outside of having one of the biggest donors ever in Nike? But it's flashy. Kids will like, yeah, you know, and it doesn't hurt. You know, you look at, you know, we got a fancier look. It was awesome. I'm jealous. I'm not gonna lie. I'll tell everybody. I look at all the helmets and the jerseys, and I'm like, man, I wish we had that. Right.
People miss that. I want to bring that back for nostalgia.
100%.
To get new ones there. You guys went had some different looks. A lot of times we roll the white on whites on the road, which I wasn't crazy about.
Right.
Because I thought the black pants look really sharp with that.
I did too. I like that.
And then the gold for the Kansas and Arkansas games,
yeah, I like that. I think my favorite ones, and we didn't even get to wear them, honestly, were those combat uniforms we wore. Denario's year. Yeah. I remember they brought those out for KU, and I was mad. I said, I went and talked to Don, our equipment manager, and said, I need one with my name on it, please. Just send it to me. I'll pay whatever. I don't care.
Those were sweet. I think it was kind of the precursor to what Nike came up with, and I think they did a good combination between crazy and new age and traditional. It was a good combination. You got both of them, and Missouri does a good job. Coach Pickle, maybe this was different than your age. He said they let the seniors pick all the uniforms before the season. They sit in a meeting and they pick them for the game.
Yeah, see, it was a little bit different because
Williams probably picked them all.
Right. He would let the seniors pick, but it was like a week-to-week thing. And I don't know, maybe because they have more options now, where they say, hey, let's pick it out early, just get it out of the way. But we would meet, the seniors. When Coach Pickle says it's the seniors team, it is. We have a senior meeting every Sunday.
So the red shirt freshmen didn't get a say?
No, not at all. You got to earn your stripes, right? And then you get to sit in Coach Pickle's office. You talk about a number of different things. What do we want to do this week? What's the message? What uniform combo? And unless it's something absolutely crazy or asinine, he usually is like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Well, and that's cool because it's kind of like bringing it again full circle. You've worked your way up through the program. You're a senior. This is your team. We're going to go based on, your performance essentially, and we want you to lead it, and he gives you those guys every opportunity to do that.
Well, I want to talk about quarterback Matty Mott because when he signed here at Missouri, he was a 3-star recruit, but he was also a passer in time in high school football history. Touchdown. A lot of people wanted to compare him to Chase Daniel, who was an under-the-radar recruit, state champion, almost 2-time state champion in South Lake Carolina.
Right.
You knew Chase Daniel. You've seen Matty Mott for a bit over a year now. How do those two quarterbacks compare as far as and how they're used in the offense?
Very similar. Very, very similar. I think Matty might be a little more athletic than Chase. Yeah, I was just about to say it, man. I think Chase just, I don't want to say they're both intelligent quarterbacks, but Chase just knew the offense. It was like he was 2 reads ahead before he finished his first read. He was like, okay, that's not going to be there, so that means read 3 is going to be there, and it would be there. And so, you didn't see Chase make as many of those, we talked about it before, those little silly, reckless mistakes that Matty will make, scrambling, trying to make a play, throw it up, turns into an interception. Chase was way more articulated. So you saw, fewer of those mistakes, but they're very similar. And I'm very happy to be able to have a quarterback that's as smart and Matty, and I don't mind the risk, the risk factor. He's I like it. He takes shots down the field, and he gives guys an opportunity to make a play. And that's all you want to ask for out of a quarterback.
Guys, I want to ask both of you this question. This kind of came up through the week. TJ Moe, one of my favorite Tigers of all time.
Yeah, TJ.
He was on St. Louis radio talking about James Franklin, and he mentioned that James Franklin cost Missouri the quarterback because of breaking up with a girlfriend. It kind of caught me off guard. I mean, what's up with you, Steve?
Oh, man. Yikes.
It seemed to me like the football maybe wasn't number one this night. He missed the day and wouldn't take medication. Not too much. Years later, go back and say, 2 years ago, cost us the game because of the girlfriend.
It's a little bit strong. I mean, you could say he didn't play as well. It was way behind.
4 picks.
Put it all sorting on players. Might be a little too much. Years down the road, I don't know where he was going.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a bit, it's a kind of a hindsight thing. Why 2 years later we bring it up?
Right.
I mean, as a former player, it seemed like something. I mean,
I was shocked. I'll say this because at the end of the day, true or not, there's a code you stick to. You know, James had gone through enough that season, questioning his toughness, all of these different kind of things. And it's one thing maybe if TJ says that in the heat of emotion of not maybe doing so well in the SEC or something like that. It's another thing 2 years later to say it. You know, whatever the situation was, we're all brothers and we all protect each other. If that was the case, yeah, all right, if that was the case, you don't bring it up.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you talk to somebody about it behind closed doors with another teammate, but we don't do that. We don't bring it up because, and especially at this point, because it's just unnecessary. But I was shocked, you know, because I know TJ real well. You know, we spent a lot of time together, me, him, and Tommy, you know, just running around. You know, but, you know, it is what it is. You know, James is doing well. That's what matters. TJ's doing well. But you'd like to see stuff like that not happen.
It was clear there was a rift in that locker room that year, though. I mean, that year, the wagon completely fell apart.
Yeah.
And TJ Moe, I think, actually called into question James' toughness that year.
Yeah.
And so did Coach Pinkel, though. And I'll tell you what, and I want to go back to this, maybe kind of ties into this. Coach Pinkel, to me, as a fan and as an outsider that doesn't know Pinkel that well, changed when Aaron O'Neal died. It seemed to me like he became more open to his players. I heard Lorenzo Williams say before that he was not as approachable. And when Aaron O'Neal died, do you think that people changed as a person?
Oh, 100%. I mean, when you have something tragic like that happen, you don't have any option but to change. And, you know, I know we always talk about the success of, you know, the 08, the 07 class and how close we were and was able to turn it around. But ultimately, what a lot of people don't know is that was the one factor that did that. Because that everybody had to look in the mirror and kind of figure out, you know, I remember my last conversation with AO wasn't the most pleasant.
Yeah.
And it hurt me at a level I can't even describe. And that just spread through the team, especially with a 19-year-old, healthy, strong young man. Just, what do you mean he died?
And a drill.
And
a non-mandatory
factor. And everything that we did was beyond football. That's how we were able to accomplish the things that we accomplished. It was beyond football. Coach Pinkel had to come outside of himself and be something other than just a guy, a coach, you know, and it became a family. And through that, that's how we were able to navigate those ups and downs and really be successful. So he definitely changed, and he needed to, you know, because I look at him now, he's changed. Coach Pinkel back then, even with the change, would have never been on Twitter or dancing on him. I saw that. I almost passed out. I said, Coach Pinkel did what? He was doing his little locker room dance, but it's good. That's what you want. You want to see progression. You know, you want to see people change because that means that they're willing to do what it takes to be successful. So,
yeah, so I'll tell you what, before Steve, we come off the airport, let you go. I know you got your time. Thanks so much today, man. I know it's
I appreciate it, man. I love it.
For you, but I wanted to get in to the NFL because Kansas City Chiefs are coming up a win.
Yeah.
A victory.
Yeah.
Okay, beating the Miami Dolphins on the road. Monday Night Football is at Arrowhead on Monday night. Excited? Can this team get back? Can this team get back to contention here? Can San Diego look like they're going to be the top 6?
Yeah.
Where are the Chiefs at right now?
I think the Chiefs just gotta get that momentum. You know, when you're looking at the team itself as a whole, you want to see them take that win and roll into Monday Night Football.
Break the sound record.
Right, break the sound record. I want it all. I want the sound record broke. I want TV ratings broke because I'm going to be selfish. Right, yeah. I'm going to be selfish because I want to see something we haven't seen in Kansas City in ever, if I don't know. The Chiefs and the Royals be good at the same time. You know, that's what I want to see what the city looks like when we actually have successful teams clicking at the same time. And I'm excited about it, man. The team's got an opportunity to be a great team. The Patriots, you know, they're always going to be great. And I want to see them take it to them and really get this thing turned around.
Well, Noah, the Royals, of course, a wild card spot. I know you're not being more excited. Seems what it does to break the sound record to win the game. Make a choice.
I can only have one sound record. I really want it, but I'm going to have to go with the win football.
Always go with the W.
Yes.
Always.
We can talk Tom Brady. We haven't competed with football teams in a really long time. So he's the New England Patriots. Tom Brady, Rocker Gronkowski, Julian Edelman. Has 22 catches already. Tom Brady, the go-to target. Always finds a way to get open. So we can find a way to beat that defense. Darrell Revis, Vince Wilfork, John Mayo, and the Patriots. That'll be a huge, substantial win for the Kansas City Chiefs early in the season after a devastating week 1 loss against the Tennessee Titans.
Not a lot of marquee matchups. One that I do like for the Chiefs after this, San Francisco and Philadelphia. San Francisco out of the gate, 1-2, a team I picked to go to the Super Bowl this year. 1-2 out of the gate. Our boy Aldon Smith, kind of MIA, he's suspended for a while.
Goodness gracious.
We still got Justin Smith.
Yeah, he's still there. Yeah.
Smith, another word for sacking. The Niners team right now. Philadelphia's undefeated. The Niners need to win in the worst way.
Yeah, you got rough times in the secondary. The Oakland Raiders from last year, Terrell Brown, Carlos Rogers got injuries with Marlo Bowman. Aldon Smith is out, like we know. Patrick Willis is dipped up. That offense isn't getting going, which is shocking.
Right. Yeah.
Michael Crabtree,
it's crazy.
Frank Bowen, the list goes on and on. Offensive line with Mike Body. I mean, it's really shocking what's going on with their offense. Warren Cameron not playing as well as he was last season. So, really questioning what's going on with the Niners. They make those injuries. The players get healthy back on defense. They need to figure out this offense and get rolling. But I think they can get it going. I like Jim Harbaugh as a coach, and I like the Niners in this game to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they get back to the track. Almost up to 1-3.
Steve, does the NFL have an image problem right now? We see the Ray Rice situation. We have Adrian Peterson. I mean, is that an image problem for the NFL? It's just isolated, and we'll move on, and that'll be the end.
I think it's going to be an image crisis. Because with the Ray Rice situation and how it was handled, you know, it's always things that pop up. You know, something that'll happen. Oh, the player does this, suspend him. But when you got your commissioner involved at the level that he is suspected to be involved in, you know, and I think he's come out and admitted that he was wrong and all of this kind of stuff. And then things just keep happening. You know, I told Ruck the other day, I said, man, anybody who gets in trouble after this is going to get the hammer brought down on them because it is an image crisis. It's bad enough, you know, just in general. We've all met athletes who, you know, they're on the pedestal and they act like it. But now it's like, okay, you got them beating up women. You got them, you know, all of this different stuff happening. You know, you're going to have to take a major decisive action to prevent it from getting any worse, I think.
You let Martin Rucker, speaking of him, T-Ruck, you let him retire from the NFL. I'm blaming that on you. I mean,
I'll take the blame for that. 100% me. I did that.
And I mean, one of the greatest tight ends I've ever seen in football history. Size, athleticism, route running. Although he almost dropped 4th and goal against
I'll make sure he remembers that.
A guy I really want to see, transition to the NFL. He got to come to camp with the Chiefs today. That injury just kind of he broke his leg, I think, in the end of that. Was too much for him to come back from.
Yeah.
Great shape, my God. The guy.
Yeah. He's still working. I mean, like I said, we work together at Core Athletic. He's still training and staying in shape. But I think Martin's career, he's one of the lucky ones. He stayed in there about 6 years. We see a lot of guys that come and they're gone in the blink of an eye, whether it's an injury or they just can't make the cut. It's a tough business.
Yeah.
You know, it's a tough business. You got so many guys trying to make it, you know, an injury, depending on where you're at, could be the ending factor to your career. You know, and that was tough for him. I know we had talked about it before he told me he was going to retire. And I just asked him, man, are you ready? He was like, yeah, you know. He said the way the business goes, you know, he had talked to his brother Mike, obviously, and got some advice and just decided that was the best thing for him to do. So, you know, but like I said, that's just an example. It's tough, man. People think like guys just wake up and go to the NFL. It's not the case, man. You know, it's a lot that goes into it, right?
It's still something. 30 now. I feel like I can maybe get one more
right.
A couple sessions before
get an open tryout, man. Come see me. We'll put a trial with the Chiefs together and see what we can do.
Good. I cannot possibly be any worse than Donnie Avery.
Right. I know. I know. I saw DJ go down. I said, I still got something left in the tank now. I can do something. Let me know.
Oh, man. You got 3 girls. girls' house. You know,
Yeah.
I know.
Pray for me, please.
A lot of sports, and there's a personal side of things too.
Yeah.
That lives outside of this, not so much. You have 3 girls. I mean, how is talk about playing defense in college football?
Right.
This has to be tougher than that.
Yeah, you're talking about defense for 3 beautiful young girls. I'm trying. That's why I'm training so hard. At some point, somebody's gonna knock on that door, and I'm not gonna like it.
Is it harder trying to corral Jeremy Macklin in practice, or these 3 girls?
I'm definitely gonna go with these 3 girls because they're all. I got a 4-year-old, a soon-to-be 3-year-old, and an 8-month-old. My 8-month-old started crawling like 2 weeks ago,
Oh my God.
and I can't tell the other 2 anything anyway. So I'm heavily outnumbered in my household.
It's a crazy thought. You talk about Jeremy Macklin, some of the guys in the NFL, there's talent. I mean, Andrew Gatchkar.
Right.
Henry Josie's on the squad. You guys, Ziggy was still in the league. I think even CJ Mosley's bouncing around.
Yeah,
When you got to Mizzou in 2004, did you have any vision of the program getting to where it is now and that you would see players in the NFL all over the league? I mean, is it just unreal to you sometimes to think about that?
I wouldn't say so much for like where we are in 2004. I just didn't know what it would look like for us to get to this point.
Yeah.
Because you got to think about those guys that came in 2003 and 2004. We were used to winning. I went to Rockhurst High School. I'm coming in 2 state championships. We should have won 4, in my opinion, but we'll leave that alone. I'm not going to talk about that.
Simple.
Right. He don't want to talk about it. So we came here, Tommy Saunders.
Yeah.
We were all winners. A lot of the guys that were in the 03 class were used to winning. So when we got there and we weren't, we're like, look, I don't know what we got to do to turn this around, but we need to start doing something. And, I think as we went along and continued that process, we start seeing what it could have been and what it is now. Top, first-round picks, guys in the NFL all over the place, whether they got drafted or not, just a quality athlete that NFL teams want. And we're happy because that's what creates that cycle of making a major university major. Guys are looking at that like, man, they had, this many first-round picks. They got this many guys in the NFL. That's what attracts these young recruits. And then from there, we can continue our success as a program.
Well, I want to talk about recruiting a little bit because, every year you look at Missouri's recruiting ranking, guys. 35th, 32nd, 41st.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what a recruiting class was that had Chase Daniel, all those guys in the 30s. More of the pack in the Big 12.
Yeah.
Okay. Mario Alexander, 2-star recruits. What is it about this stat that's able to identify players, even like yourself, that you were a bigger recruit than Spoon, and please hold that over his head. Because this football loving ass, man.
Right.
That guy.
That boy knew football, I'll tell you what, man.
How is the stat able to identify players and turn them into the stars that they are? Because it's really unprecedented.
I think their experience together allows them to do it, and just their experience as individuals, coaches playing the game. A true football player knows another one when he sees it. And I'm not a big believer in any of the rankings. I've seen 5-star guys that, do they got numbers? Do they got this? But one thing I learned real quick is once I got to Mizzou, it's a grind like a whole nother level that you can't even explain. So a guy can be a 5-star athlete. Yeah, let's talk about him about 2 or 3 months after he's been here. He's gone through this day in, day out summer workouts. He's gone through a semester of school on top of all the physical demands and see what he is then. So what the coaches are able to do is look at a guy and say, he's a really good football player and he has potential to turn into an NFL caliber athlete in our program because it's top down. They believe in Coach Ivy's strength and conditioning program. And they know that the system they have in place there in terms of the football side of things will develop players, but they got to find that potential, and they're just really, really good at it, man. They got an eye for it.
What about scheme-wise? Looking at that,
yeah, I mean, you think about Ziggy. Ziggy was one of the best perfect fits for the defense we were in. You're talking about a monster on that defensive, that nose tackle position. And I don't even know if he had a star. Amarillo, Texas. And all I knew was when I showed up, I was asking, who is he?
I think he had a UTEP offer with that.
Right. And I'm being for real. I saw Ziggy walk in, And Ziggy was different.
Yeah.
All he did was eat, sleep, and drink football. Film study, weights, practice, do it again. That was it. You couldn't find him unless he was doing things, and he was a perfect fit for what we try to do, and that's what coaches look for. I don't care what star you are. I don't care where you're at. How do you fit into the scheme? And then we go from there.
Well, guys, we got the game coming up in about an hour. We got Gridiron Gameday Uncensored. It's been great being here at the McFadden Sports Saloon. Come on down. Watch the game tonight. There's Mizzou Alumni Association on the watch party. We're starting to fill in.
Oh, yeah, it's getting packed, man.
We get you behind us. Got to go shake your hands. See some hockey games trickling out here. There's a hockey game over there. Not my sport, but I support it anyway. Guys, Steve Kemp, Chiefs Monday Night Football in Mizzou tonight. Let's get a win. And my CCOU, Steve Redmond. Thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely, man. It's always a pleasure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Signing off.